Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's offering of community-led medicine Buddha. I know for those of you who hung around toward the end of last week's offering, I had mentioned that Miss Sharon Hill would be facilitating this week's session. Reality has done what reality does, and causes and conditions have changed. And so, with equal parts lamentation that you don't get the real medicine from Miss Sharon, I offer flowers for that loss. But I also can't lie, I have just been feeling a lot of joy um, thinking about holding this space with y'all this evening. My name is Eric. I use he and they pronouns. Um, yeah, really grateful. Just feel whenever Karen Ziegler is collaborating on the technical side, it just feels like such a pillar of support. I feel like we can sail anywhere together. Dear Karen Ziegler, snaps. For tech hosts and stage management types, all the unsung coordination, the powers of coordination that I'm sure each and every one of you do and don't get recognized enough for. So I just want to raise that up. We're going to keep it pretty open and relaxed. I want to protect a lot of time to invite folks to share their voices, if that feels good, in different ways. And if nothing else, to share your presence, whether on camera or off or in the chat or just unseen. That's the invitation. And because I think it's a very precious opportunity to just talk about medicine Buddha together. No one else has to do this, but am planning on hanging around until 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so a full 90 minutes. And I'll be closing with a 3-minute dance song if anyone is feeling brave and wants to stay that long, just to hang out and connect. That's just an invitation, no stress whatsoever. Welcome, especially if this is your first time in this space. This is the community-led vibe. It's a slightly different vibe when Lama Rod is in town, but yeah, you know, he sets a tone. He sets a tone that we all, in my experience, bring forth in whatever way is true for us. And I think that makes, I don't have a basis for saying this or believing this. I just hope it makes Lama Rod happy that that's the case, you know? Okay, so that was all that. As usual, I'm just going to drop some links in here. Oh, yes, if you really knew me, you'd know that I have been very fortunate to do a lot of like mentoring and teaching, mindfulness, whatever that word means, with young teens and other young people for many, many years. And at the end of those retreats that we do, we have this big dance party, and they help make a playlist. And like someone needs to hold down the playlist, and I like to volunteer sometimes. And usually, whenever I volunteer to DJ, I'm always like, "Well, I am DJ good enough. I'm DJ good enough." So I've got that Bible going a little bit today. There might be some multimedia stuff going on. Some different images before we open up the space with y'all. And that's my invitation to you as well. And just please feel free to rest in your utter good enoughness that can never be revoked from you. It's my opinion. You don't have to receive that. That's just, I'm just saying nonsense. But it's really good to be here with all of you. I'm just feeling a lot of joy. That song, Anybody Here by Sweet Honey and the Rock that we opened up with, really was a kind of intravenous line to me for a while there in 2020 thereabouts. But in each season, it just like discloses some new sentiment, some new affect that like is the same but has somehow changed flavor, you know, and not all it's part of the reason why I resonated so deeply with that song in such a low time of my life was because I was like, who is anybody here? And but now living in this moment, the answer is I'm here with all of you. There's many people here, many beings here. And so really thank you for being here. And thank you for doing something so audacious as entering into a space where we might proclaim for no other reason than because we can and we must invoke, bring forth, abide within, play around with healing and liberation and freedom and the concrete realities of the struggles of our lives without turning away from any of it. That's kind of what this space is for me right now. And as always, and I'm just going to say this like emphatically, and then I won't, so that I don't have to do it over and over again, but really, really clearly, everything is an invitation. That includes belief, like, please take everything I say as the ramblings of a madman, you know, that, and a mad meaning, or maybe the Shakespearean fool, just having a good time and happy to be in this shared space together with y'all. As we proceed through, you're welcome to just come into your own space. You can turn the volume down if you'd like. Just know that we're still contributing some shared sense of energy together. So here is the Medicine Buddha quick links and bonus for y'all this week. I was getting really nerdy, and so I just included some bonus resources, particularly around if anyone wants to see different representations of Medicine Buddha. I recommend checking out Himalayan art resources. There's also some other cool things here that you might want to check out and that I'll be mentioning as we proceed. But just wanted to name that if anyone's feeling nerdy, like I have been. There's pretty cool stuff there in celebration of this expression of Indo-Tibetan aesthetic brilliance, in my opinion. Amongst many other brilliances. But of course, we have Fall Chenrezig's Ring of Fire coming up on the 28th. Sign up for that. Fall work, grounding fear and weaving freedom through the power of Matara. We'll be talking a little bit more about that later as well, but come spend 4 really solid hours of working it together with Lama Rod in kind of an open studio kind of format that allows him to just explore and experiment in collaboration with the participants. And then, of course, we have the 8-week course From Broken Hearts to Spiritual Warriors, an 8-week journey on the path of becoming a new saint, which Lama Rod and the team is working hard on and we are feeling very excited about. So check that out. There's also scholarship, work exchange opportunities available. So please be sure to visit the page, read through, see what's available. And if it feels like if it feels like that would be nourishing for you in this moment, please reach out. Yeah. Okay, and of course, this Love, Power, and Liberation with Dr. Angela Davis will be in Oakland in November. I really wish I could be there in person. I'm hoping there are plans to record it. I will I'll inquire about that. So check that out if you are around. As always, much more at lamarod.com/events. And then just there's, if especially if you're new in this space, there's lots of stuff here in the resources of this quick links document, little treasures that even if you've seen them before, it may have been a while, little surprises might happen if you revisit them or not, but they're there if that sounds interesting to y'all. They are now live streaming the event with Lama Rod and Angela Davis. It's hybrid now. Thank you, Villevon. Appreciate you. Um, okay, Eric. Let's get along, huh? Yeah. So first, I just invite y'all to ground and really simple today, because I'm just feeling simple. I'm feeling so simple today. Just engage in whatever quality of mindfulness or awareness or rest or release or visionary channeling, whatever is most conducive to rest. Maybe you just want to practice mindfulness of rest itself. Another thing that's an anchor that has also saved my life. The whole sensory field is available, and the choice to not do anything, especially, is always available. And just trust that you know what matters most from there. In Please, just the invitation is just incline yourself towards rest as best you can. I've kind of been working with this, I don't know. It's basically like a fidget spinner. It's a conceptual fidget spinner that's in my neuro rainbow brain. There's lots of fidget spinners, especially conceptual fidget spinners. So I have lots of opportunity to be mindful of their whirling. Gentle with myself when I hate them, frankly. But one of those things that I've been enjoying lately is a riff on something that Dr. Dan Brown once wrote about the practice of Mahamudra, which is just this articulation of mindfulness as being nothing other than the spontaneous protection of the way freedom stays. Maybe that resonates for you. Maybe it doesn't. Please celebrate all occurrences of you doing whatever is authentic for you in this moment. And with this aspiration towards some alchemy of mindfulness and rest, I'm just going to mute myself and we can just spend a few minutes in silence together. Of course, if now is your singing practice, just mute yourself and join us in singing practice. And maybe that was pleasant for you. Maybe that was painful for you. I honor and respect the integrity and of each and every experience that is rippling through this group of 55 people all over the world. Whatever the integrity, whatever that integrity means for you in this moment, maybe you just want to stay here and practice freedom by exercising your agency to do so. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for respecting yourself. And with that blessing, those who would like to proceed will go ahead and do so. And one more time, I just want to, lots of helpful links. And of course, if you would like to offer prayers this evening in a verbal format, you know, that's what we're limited to at this current medium, or not a verbal, linguistic, textual format, which may not be accessible. I just want to honor and respect that in this moment as well. So if that works, that's cool. Please, I think this prayer document feels very special to me. I'm not going to go into why. You all, I don't know. If it feels special to you, then you know what I'm talking about. There's just some, I just think it's the honest archive over 4 or 5 years. I don't know how many years we've been going now. So that's available. No pressure or stress to engage with that in any way, but that's available if you would like to do so. Yeah, so I'd like to talk a bit about one of Lama Rod's favorite books that he recommended to me a while ago. And um, it's, you know, this, I got this ring light, so you probably can't see anything. It's okay. There's links in the quick links document. But it's called Fabulous: The Rise of the Beautiful Eccentric by an incredible entity named Madison Moore. This is Madison Moore. You get the vibe. You see the heels. Look at the pose. Okay. All right. I've said enough. And you might notice all the cover. This might be slightly reminiscent of the image that we use for the work offerings. This is a direct homage to the designer of this book, because this is how much Lama Rod loves this book. He's like, yes, the black lips. Yes. Fierce, fabulous. So high esteem and regard. And I am slowly making my way through it just because it has asked me to please read it slowly. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to heed. Oh, thank you all for sharing in the chat, whatever feels good to share. And I had these grand aspirations of like, I'm going to read a chapter, and then on that chapter, I'll come back with them. I was like, I did not have the spoons for that today. So instead, I just reread like the final couple paragraphs. And I would really love to just share this with you as a way to open up the space and to share pretty pictures of Medicine Buddha while folks talk. Okay, so this is the final remarks in a chapter called "I Create My Own Space: A Conversation About Fierceness." Fierceness, fabulousness, and all other visions of spectacular appearance are about imagining space and carving it out for yourself in the here and now, not waiting for the right time to do so in the future. This is important because brown people, this is written from the perspective of the author, who is a brown person and writing about their experience. So go ahead and do a conceptual clarification there. I'm just going to read it as is written, but just in case that ended up sounding wonky for anyone. This is important because brown people live in an ecosystem that is constantly on the attack, one that steadily reminds us that we are too much, over the top, and that we ought to tone it down or suffer the consequences. Renounce yourself, the philosopher Michel Foucault once wrote, or suffer the penalty of being suppressed. Do not appear if you do not want to disappear. Your existence will be maintained only at the cost of your nullification. What he's saying is that society wants weirdos, outcasts, and eccentrics to be suppressed, and it will systematically penalize anyone who steps too far out of the box. The only way to stay alive and safe, Foucault says, is to participate in the fantasy of a bland normative group consciousness. And so just in case y'all are still in mindfulness mode, this is still the practice of social mindfulness to me. This is a social mindfulness situation, and I have an exuberant expression of that sometimes. But y'all don't have to meet me where I'm at. This is just me existing and having a good time in the moment. But the invitation to like mindfulness of freedom and rest persists. Just want to bring that awareness back in. But fabulousness resonates and has value, I think, when we decide not to cave into this oppressive ecosystem, but to confront it with our versions of the world. At some point, we do cave to the demands. We take off our bangles and we take off our wedged heels, so to speak. But soon enough, the things we do feel safe don't necessarily feel the things we do to feel safe don't necessarily feel safe anymore. They produce just as much anxiety as the fear and reality of being reprimanded verbally, physically, and professionally. So when we say, "This is my space," we are creating the tiniest utopia and asserting ourselves in a world we are not supposed to inhabit, and that is a beautiful gesture. Mahamudra, right, among many interpretations, right, is the great gesture. And Mahamudra is just another system of resting in freedom. that's my extremely aspirational take on Mahamudra. It's my quick Mahamudra take. Okay, so not done yet. Sorry. There are folks we will make uncomfortable, whether or not we're fully expressing ourselves. They don't like us. So why should we walk around looking so fabulous and free? But how does the way we inhabit our bodies have anything to do with anybody else? Why do you feel so threatened by how comfortable we are with ourselves? How does the way we dress have anything to do with the way we teach, the art we make, the kind of friend or lover we are, the food we make, the intellectual work we do, or any of our other talents and contributions? We know that the more visible we are, the more we are also subject to surveillance. But we shouldn't let oppressive systems zap all our joy and vibrancy. The second they do, the second we throw in the towel and renounce ourselves, as Foucault put it, the system wins. And I just wanted to share that because I think, for me, it helps me understand why Lama Rod has cultivated this space in the way he has. just a little bit. Not it's just but just building the freedom and the range of motion and the personalization of the fierceness and the fabulousness and the work that is required to do that crafting. And he's like, I won't do it for you. you know. Um, so just wanted to offer that, and so I'm just happy to open it up. For folks. You can raise your hands if that feels good. You can also do popcorn style and um, maybe open it up for 15 minutes and maybe we'll begin the chanting uh, after that if that feels good. How does that feel? Can I get a beautiful gesture? Ooh, yes, thank you. Even all the unseen gestures, I still see you. Okay. And in the meantime, I'm just going to do a little screen share and interject when I have the opportunity to help to describe why I'm sharing the things that I'm sharing. All right, I turn it over to the Council of Wisdom beings. How are y'all doing? What's on your hearts? What are you praying for? What are you struggling with? Oh, you know what? I should have known. I'm going to ask, as Miss Aisha Ali asks, as a prompt that people can pick up or not. And this is in shout out to Her Majesty Miss Aisha Ali. Go visit heartwith.com, heartwithmindfulness.com, get some medicine. But as Miss Aisha has frequently asked, what are you bringing to the altar today? What would you like to bring to the altar today? And yeah, like the great theater people, shout out to theater people, right? We know something about this willing suspension of disbelief that is actually absolutely incredible, like as a feat of human consciousness that we totally take for granted, but shamelessly entering a willing suspension of disbelief that whatever you bring to the altar in any way that you bring it is anything other than a pure, pristine, exquisite offering. Um, yeah, ooh. Ivy, I'm just going to read. I need a new career journey with Pass ASAP. Better than I can imagine. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that truth. I also would like to read the things in the chat, but perhaps if others could volunteer to read the things in the chat as they come in as well, because my neural rainbow brain needs a little bit of focus to pull up these tabs.
Lucy writes, I'm navigating some really tricky medical stuff, meeting with a doctor tomorrow, and woo, I sure hope I can get some clarity. We hope so too.
I'm throwing in some, bringing to the table, going home to my like home dojo that I was raised in for the first time in a long while for their 60th anniversary this weekend. So keep me in your thoughts as I travel back into the fire from which I was birthed and crawled away.
Heard. Thank you
I'll
for
share.
sharing.
A few months ago, I was at a a queer health conference, and I heard a term defined called gender euphoria, and I had never heard it before. And it's pretty self-explanatory, but for those of us who maybe don't identify as cis, but really anybody, I think, when we feel gender dysphoria, it's the idea that something about our gender, the way we feel internally, is not coming into alignment with how we're presenting or being perceived. And gender euphoria is when you get a moment of that like alignment. And I felt that today really fully in a way that I was like, oh, that's that feeling. Um, a couple things happened. One, a friend of mine at work who has really been working hard on his mental health, and I've been providing a little bit of support, came up to me and asked if we could get coffee because he said he didn't really feel like he was a cis man and needed someone to talk to about it. And then I started reading a new book. I'm a big sci-fi and fantasy nerd, and I started reading a book about it's a sci-fi book about a trans girl finding safety. And then a friend of mine he really sort of got lost because of a sort of disruptive, antagonistic mentor got lost in his view of the trans experience, came to me and apologized and is doing their work. And my hair looks good, so I'm having gender euphoria today.
Claps and snaps and magic fingers. That's a svaha. When your hair looks good on top of it, svaha. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you just for sharing it sounds very much like the fruits of hard-won labor. I don't know if that's your words for it, but that's just a reflection back. Really briefly, so first of all, here, can y'all see my screen? Can I get a beautiful gesture? I'm gonna use it forever now. So this is that book by Madison Moore, and at the very end here, well, let's do first things first. And then I also wanted to share this one. This is the Samboga Kaya Medicine. It's actually Medicine Guru. And you can learn more about the incredible background lineage of where this image comes from at the Buddha Visions link that I included in the quick links document. But it's a practice of the heart essence of Yutuk, the Yutuk Nyingtik, which is a tradition that I also practice in. And if you want to learn more about that, check out purelandfarms.com, also linked in the quick links document. They're like they're like really great. Pure Land Farms is like neighbors in the shared forest. So if you want to learn more about the Yutuk Nyingtik, it's really incredible. And but for me personally, it's very meaningful. And this is one of my favorite Medicine Buddha images, probably across multiple lifetimes. And this is a very special Medicine Buddha image because, y'all know in the prayer docket and stuff, there's the robes and the bowl and the like topless jewelry vibe is just toned down. There's still jewelry, like but that's and so that is what's called, and I'm not an expert on any of this, but this is what's known, at least we can use art history terms, as the Nirmanakaya manifestation of Medicine Buddha, and this is the Sambhogakaya, which is the kind of sky body adorned with the jewels of the jewels. Of whatever you'd like them to be, But and there's these four directional, elemental, medicinal goddesses around Medicine Buddha. Yes, they are very gender. I want to believe in this moment that they're experiencing gender. What was the word? Someone please unmute themselves. That was just brought up.
Euphoria.
Whatever gender they are, and you want to zoom in and look at the chests, they can like listen. You are only limited by your imagination on how these folks are expressing themselves in that way. But I like to imagine them in this moment as definitely experiencing gender euphoria, whatever the reality of their embodiment is. And there's protectors, and they're playing musical instruments. And I just, after having read that section from that fabulous book, I just wanted to offer this as yet another expression of medicine Buddha. That might be a little like, for me, this just hits because for what my queer aesthetic, wild weirdness, I'm like, this is just, it's not a carbon copy of this. But I like see this medicine Buddha across the street and I'm like, yo, we gotta hang out. Tell me where you got your sky jewels. Um, so I just wanted to offer that. That's just, I'll be leaving it up here, both of them, but just wanted to introduce that. And then also the Himalayan Art Resources page in the quick link stock is an incredible archive of different expressions of medicine Buddha too. So if you're feeling like a sense of not freshness or aliveness around your aesthetic relationship to medicine Buddha in multiple dimensions, this is just pure, like, from a fellow friend on the road. That always like helps me refresh and inspire me and like affirm. And it changes over time. So sometimes I'm like, well, I had staked my whole life on this one interpretation of this one symbol, and now it doesn't hit that way anymore. So now what am I going to do? I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced that. I go to Himalayan Art Resources and I refresh. Okay, that's enough, Eric. We gotta manage time here. But also, just at the end, in the spirit of Lama Rod and just how Lama Rod rolls, I wanted to, in this fabulous book, there is this section called Color Palette. And I just wanted to offer these as also expressions of medicine Buddha. All right, so I'm just going to be scrolling through these while y'all talk. But just wanted to put that out there. And then when we chant, these will both be up. And so like this, you know, this fluidity and flexibility of how medicine Buddha can appear and arise. I think that's what I'm bringing to the altar today. Wow, that was a long-winded way to say that. Please feel free to unmute yourself and speak freely.
AJ has her hand. Hi, AJ.
Hello. I just wanted to thank you, Eric, for bringing in that section of the book. It's often difficult to find belonging in places where it feels like you're left out. So whenever there is space to breathe and to be able to feel like you can see kinship with others in certain spaces, it feels like, it feels like there's light in the space. There's a little bit more air to breathe. And sometimes I think about like the queer community as a whole, and sometimes it can feel so, you can feel so lost in it because there's so many ways of being. And I have to think about the ways that this community or communities has carved up spaces for me in my journey into being the big butch lesbian that I am now. Yeah. And it feels good to feel like I can rely on the community whenever I need it. I know that it has been a difficult time in the past few months. I had a fiance, and now we're not there anymore. And yet there's still light, knowing that it was an inspiration from being in this space that I realized, oh, I don't have to suffer alone. Like the wedding day that I was supposed to have, I can turn it into a homecoming, in moving into my new space. And that feels like it is a reclamation of something that something I could have. I mean, I still can feel that grief and also feel the joy of community coming together. Because I know that they want to support me and don't want me to feel alone during that time. So thank you for bringing that space.
Thank you so much for sharing. As always, please feel no pressure to fill the silence. Yeah, no need to stigmatize the freedom of silence as well. Just in case anyone's like me and that bird is singing. And while we are resting together, just want to invite if there's anyone who feels led or inspired to offer either the invocation mantra or the main mantra. No pressure at all. I'm happy to do both. That's what I'm planning on. But hearing Paul's voice last week was so sweet that I would like to extend that invitation again, if anyone would like to do so.
Well, I don't know if you can all hear the medicine around me here, but there's some crickets, maybe some cicadas. I don't know what else is going on in the background, but it's really beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, that's just a note to bring to the evening. Yeah, for myself, like I guess something
Sorry,
I'm
I'm interrupting. It's so good to see you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's really nice. That's really nice. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. Um, so what I'm bringing to the altar is kind of two opposite things, really, right? Which is um a sort of a long period of time where it felt like practice was just kind of painful, right? Like just like wow, just going and like meeting everything that's hurting in here and like kind of had to like renegotiate um what I was doing with practice because the ways that I was doing was suddenly not working, which was like a shock, a shock. Um and I'm kind of getting to the other side of that now, but it was only through being like really gentle with myself and being like, you know what, I'll practice for like 2 minutes. I'll practice for 2 minutes and that's enough. And to really believe that like that that is also like liberatory, that like that really is enough. Um and now it's kind of funny because now I'm like every once in a while I'll just get this flash of like, oh my God, like the Dharma is such a joy, you know, it's such a jewel, and genuinely feeling like I am so rich to have heard the Dharma and to share this Sangha in this community. And yeah, kind of some opposites going on there, right? And yeah, and just other opposites too, of being like kind of seeing my old patterns and habits and all those things that are like getting myself into some trouble coming coming and going, and how it feels like old news, you know. um and yet I guess still having to be gentle with myself in that too, right? So yeah, that's all that I'm bringing. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mary. So was anyone feeling inspired to just about speak? Because I would like to honor for those who would like to participate in prayer and maybe let their voices resound the mantra. Wondering if it feels okay to just bracket the open share portion, and we'll have more time later, and proceed to move through the mantras and the prayers together. Does anyone feel inspired to offer the invocation mantra? All good if not.
I kind of feel that. I kind of
Please.
feel that. Okay.
Thank you,
So
Mary.
Om Menme Sangye Kino Soham. Om Menme Sangye Kino Soham. Om Menme Sangye Kino Soham.
Thank you so much for that offering. Medicine Buddha, help us. That's my rendition of that mantra in this moment. Help me protect the way freedom stays. Help me protect the way freedom is true. Because I need help. I need help. This one needs help. I don't know if y'all do. No matter what, I hope you're getting it. Does anyone feel inspired to offer the main mantra? Theata Om Bekenze Maha Bekenze Radhasamungati Soha. Like this, I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of pain and suffering, and I release the energy of this prayer out to all the worlds. Even the ones we don't know about, that I don't know about, so that we all may be liberated. All right. Well, I'm happy to lend my voice. Om Teata Om Begenze Begenze Ma Begenze Radhasamungate Soha. We all able to hear that okay? Or should I turn original sound for musicians off? Whatever that. Thank you, Paul. I saw the gesture. I saw a beautiful gesture from Paul. 태아타운 백엔제 백엔제 마백엔제 라드사문가 테소하 태아타운 백엔제 백엔제 마백엔제 라드사문가 테소하 태아타운 백엔제 백엔제 마백엔제 라드사문가테소하 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 through the sincerity of your intentions, everyone who is able to help are paying attention and looking at you with joy. Even if that doesn't sound like a real thing, give yourself permission to enter a willing, consensual suspension of disbelief of that possibility. That's the invitation. And with this connection, this direct connection to the ground, I dare not say what more can be said. Being witnessed and bearing witness, we invoke Medicine Buddha and all beings, all consciousness, all entity, all forces that bring true medicine, that do not lie, that have integrity, that don't depend on anyone's external authority to access. Please, the medicine, the soma, the amrita, the nectar, that is always trying to help. Maybe that's too bold. Maybe it's just a maybe. Maybe that's just a vagary to you, and that's okay. And from this place of commitment and audacious vision, we invoke all of the yidams, teachers, wisdom texts, all of the wisdom protectors, all of the angels and archangels, all of the forces of chaos and magic to please ally with us in this moment as we turn our attention to the prayer dock. Which may be in the chat, that's the intention. And I'll go ahead and stop sharing. So may the after image of the Buddha, of the Medicine Buddha images, stay with you as long as they are helpful. But there, again, are links in the quick links doc. Okay, yeah. Medicine Buddha prayer requests. And may all obstructing forces that are not interested in the accomplishment of these prayers please wait outside the circle. We'll let you know when we're done. Thank you. Prayers for my brother, Eugene, who turns 90 tomorrow and is failing. Prayers for my upcoming stem cell transplant. Prayers for M and R. May they experience healing and freedom. Prayers for FL's friend who is in a mental health crisis and their care pod. May they and their supporters be well and resourced. Prayers for RJ, who is grieving the loss of close multiple family members. Prayers for Wet Suweten. If anyone would like to speak the proper name of that word that I probably didn't do justice to speaking, please feel free to do so. Otherwise,
Wet'suwet'en. Oh,
say
Wet'suwet'en.
Thank you.
Wet'suwet'en.
Thank you. First Nation, who have been targeted by police for resisting a pipeline on their territory, and other indigenous land defenders. Prayers for Palestine, Yemen, Sudan, Congo, Ukraine, and all affected by genocide, war, violence, and oppression. Prayers for Niktaha, that she feels supported and released of her own trauma as she nurses her dying partner. Prayers for Diane, for her sense of safety and love in this time of loss and fear, and that she knows she is protected. Prayers for the elections in the United States and for those of us who are intensely involved in them. Prayers for my brother. May he experience mental well-being while his body heals from a severe collarbone break. Prayers for myself and anyone who needs it to heal my body and spirit so I can survive in capitalism until a better way emerges. Prayers for myself and all those moving through life with chronic health challenges. May we have the strength and support that we need to advocate for ourselves and find our ways to wellness. Prayers for my brother and his family and all who escaped the bridge fire this past week. May they find housing, fellowship, and support as they wait to return to their homes. Prayers for my brother and his family and all who escaped. Affirmed. Prayers that I may feel hope and support in the midst of mysterious health challenges. Deep prayers that the new meds work nicely with my body. Prayers for all the geniuses in my life. And I believe, Anonymous Anteater, could you please, and all the geniuses who are working soulfully and tirelessly to bring new wisdom texts into this world. Prayers for me as I struggle with peripheral neuropathy for several days and a recent diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis. Prayers for my daughter whose staph infection just returned for a third time while she is traveling for work. Prayers for Ocean and all her beings. Prayers of protection for Lama Rod, and may he have all the resources he needs. Prayers for our cat Moon. May she find healing and relief from her repetitive skin licking that is causing her pain. Prayers for the child whose body was found recently. May that being be released from the suffering of this life and experience freedom in other realms. I offer prayers of utmost protection for all of these Medicine Buddha practitioners and all who have encountered this space and the aspiration of Medicine Buddha in any way, shape, or form. May they all be profoundly and actually protected, sealed. I offer prayers for Haiti. I offer prayers for all the prayers that have been left unsaid or that are by their nature unspeakable. Om te ata begenze ma begenze ratsum garizoa. 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 Te ata begenze ma Raza samungare soha. Teata begenze begenze ma begenze Raza samungare soha. Teata begenze begenze ma begenze Raza samungare soha. Teada begenze begenze ma begenze Radusangare soa. And 3 more times for every being in the 10-fold billion world system to be healed and liberated and feel the integrity of unconditional love, or whatever feels most important to you right now. Teata begenze begenze ma begenze Radusangare soha. Teata begenze begenze ma begenze Radusangare soha. Teata begenze begenze ma begenze Radha samangate soha. And perhaps the energy of the mantra and the prayers dissolve into light sound waves, photons, particles, beams, rainbow, infrared, into medicine that automatically goes wherever it is needed most. You don't have to worry. Allow it to go where it knows it needs to go. All you got to do is do your best. Period. Whatever that means for you, and no one else can tell you. I can't tell you what that means. Maybe other folks can tell me. Yeah. And we seal the energy of our practice together with Shantideva's prayer. Hi, Miss Sharon. So good to see you. Thank you for being with us. So usually we offer this 3 times, and it would just make me so happy if there might be 3 folks who would like to offer this prayer. If there are any volunteers, and it's okay if not. You can just unmute yourself and we'll just go chaos style. It's okay if you step on anyone's toes. We'll work it out.
Well, I'm jumping in. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey in a boat, a bridge, a passage, for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space.
May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine. And may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space.
May I be the protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, and a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures until they pass away from pain. May I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space.
So, thank you all so much for bearing with me. I have no idea what happened. So I hope that whatever needed to be experienced was experienced, no matter what that may have looked like. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your warm, I just felt your warm care and attention. Thank you. Here is the quick link stock, of course. If this offering supports your liberation, please consider practicing generosity to sustain Lama Rod, all that good stuff. But I was exuberant in my verbosity, more so than I had intended to be. But I would love if there. So the rest of the space is ours whenever it feels. And again, I'm hosting it, so I'm happy to stay around as long as you'd like. For those of you who feel complete, thank you so much for your energy and presence. Please join us again next week, where Lama Rod will be back with us. And yeah, just know I'm thinking about all of you all the time. Y'all have like worn really beautiful grooves into my nervous system over all this time, and you're always with me. And thank you. Well, the last thing I wanted is I was going to send. This is the third option for the potential medicine Buddha visualization, right? Like more of the classical Indo-Tibetan aesthetic variety, which I think is one of the most unbelievable contributions of the human mind to like aesthetics. You know what I mean when I say aesthetics? You know, like, there's a lot going on there. Anyway, so I'm really into that. It's okay if you aren't. Or the fabulousness, like the great fabulousness and fierceness of not only the like queer cultural criticism that is like so precise and such profound scholarship that is so accessible. Hallelujah. Thank you for everyone doing that work. Anyway, so that's fabulous. Check out that book. And I bet if you're like, Lama Rod, I got Fabulous, The Rise of the Beautiful Eccentric, he'd be like, oh. It'd be like, yeah, it's just on my reading list. Yeah, one of his favorites. But then this is the third option, of course, or whatever, third permutation that I was going to offer. It's just Medicine Buddha is this, the crystal sphere. All right, no more.
Would you repeat the name of that book? Fabulous.
Also thank you for asking, Miss Sharon. It's so good to see you. Thank you for joining us. This session was done in honor of Miss Sharon, period. Fabulous, The Rise of the Beautiful Eccentric by Madison Moore. And it's also linked in the quick links document. There's some bonus resources this week.
Okay. Thank you. And I appreciate you and Karen so much for letting me drop out at the last minute. And I'm so glad I was able to participate in the civic life of my community in that way.
Thank you for doing so. Bless.
And for those of you who may not have read in the chat, when I dropped in very late, I felt like I dropped into a whirlpool or I stepped in front of a fire hose. The energy just rushed at me as soon as I logged into to the screen. No, beautiful. And I was like, way to go, Sangha. Yeah, the energy was just so present. And it definitely wasn't me because I literally just ran in the door and I still have on my wet shoes from coming in from the rain. I threw off my raincoat in the hall and just plopped down in front of the computer. And I was like, whoa, I'm so happy to be a part of this powerful group of people.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sharon.
And thanks was for you, Eric.
Rambling on. That's how I feel.
Well, I was going to say, though the thanks was for you as leader, Eric, it was also for the collective creation of the experience, because that's why I show up here every week. This is just an amazing group of co-creators.
I feel a lot of trust with all of you in this particular configuration and form. And so that there's just a feeling of an embodied, long earned experience of being able to trust that this is a place where I can just be free to be spontaneously who I am. And so that was my journey. And sincerely, thank you all for enabling that. I think it's extreme. It's unbelievably special. And in order to always keep it level with the teens, it feels really important to always say, like, and if you had not this kind of experience that anyone else is talking about, thank you for telling the truth. And I just validate the integrity of challenging experiences in this session as well. Things you didn't like, things you don't prefer. God, be free, have opinions. My God, don't. You know. Well, thank you all for your beautiful messages. Well,
Are we complete?
I think I'm gonna just start like moseying, into a little music situation. And again, if this is where you depart, thank you for being here. Thank you for being who you are. Just thank you for everything. Please keep going. I get a lot of hope from this group, so let's keep going together.